Thanks for tuning in to DHSFR University's interview series and taking the time out to join us on a Sunday. We're back after the Eid break and hope you had a good Eid of observance, practicing social distancing and acting responsibly in Corona. This interview series was a COVID learning response initiative by the university, where we invited various subject matter experts who shared their insights on a certain topic pertaining to the current COVID-19 pandemic and how it's impacting the various facets of our lives. So I'd like to first welcome all the attendees of today, the professionals, industry professionals, students, parents, housewives, our international audience from Turkey, London, all the way to Malaysia, who's joining us right now on Zoom and through our YouTube Live. A huge welcome to you all. The COVID-19 pandemic is by far the largest, biggest challenge that our generation has faced. It's facing rather, can I say. And though we're trying to get used to the new normal and things are normalizing, aista aista karke, the lockdown, for instance, they've eased quite a bit, but it is certain that it will impact how we spend the coming years. It will be very different than we had anticipated. And अगर हम globally बात करें तो the IMF refers to the current financial crisis as the Great Lockdown. Just a Great Depression था वैसे they've named it Great Lockdown. And they expect the global economy to shrink by 3% this year from a growth of 3.3% the previous year. So the speed and scale are unparalleled. And this time industry everywhere is being impacted. Of course, उसका असर global level पे भी हो रहा है, local level पे भी हो रहा है. So, in desperate attempts to ensure survival through the COVID-19 pandemic, many companies and businesses have already taken painful measures, such as pay cuts, layoffs, and the working class has been more affected. They're having to deal with the COVID-induced pain, the economic pain, and other things that come with it. So I say so because we've all been directly or indirectly affected by the economic fallout of the current situation. Or iski wajah se there's a constant fear on people's mind, hovering on people's mind, कि, I may lose my job this month or the next. And some have already lost their jobs. Some have had salary cuts. Entrepreneurs are struggling to pay their staff because, health protocols ki compliance ki wajah se many businesses are operating at half the capacity or less. And on top of that, there's no new businesses for many. So another angle to it is when a bread earner in the family is affected. That means not just that family, but people that they employ are also affected. It's not just the school fee and the utilities. It's the driver that you employ, the maid, the chowkidar, the cable wala, kari saab, sare log, they're all impacted by that. So it means that we all, to some degree, have a challenge at hand, and things need to be done differently. Therefore, we chose the topic money matters in the challenging times. As we got a lot of queries on this topic, people are looking for situational advice on how to manage our finance, how to budget, how to save in the current scenario, because saving is very important despite being stuck in the current scenario. So our guest of today is the dynamic Mr. Naki Azam, a former senior international banker, educator, and entrepreneur. Naki Saab was associated with Citibank as global vice president, and he's been in other leadership roles in banking operations, technology, treasury, and training for 15 years in the Europe region and the MENA region. He later sold the Dow Jones Telerate franchise in Pakistan and was also president and director of Aviva Financial Group in Canada. He's also the president of MyLinks International. अच्छा नकी साहब का स्पेशल इंटरेस्ट जो हमारे आज के गेस्ट हैं इनका है इन इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन ऑफ एजुकेशनल प्रोजेक्ट्स अक्रॉस एशिया leading to blended learning, joint ventures, and collaborative learning. And he has brought into fruition leading institutions in Pakistan. He contributes international education management and linked projects across Malaysia, Cambodia, Philippines, Canada. And being a seasoned international banker, he has experienced the 1997-98 Asian financial crisis and the 2008-2009 global financial crisis. So he'll bring you answers to career-related questions that may be troubling you and tips to protect your finances, regardless of whether you've fallen prey to a pay cut or a job cut or not. And since Naki Saab and I, we've been working on some projects together. An interesting fact that I recently found out about him is that he's also a licensed football coach. So without further ado, let's welcome Naki Saab. Assalamu alaikum, Naki Saab. How are you?
Walaikum salam. Walaikum salam. For my international audience, I would like to. I'm very encouraged. We have got tremendous response from Malaysia, Philippines, Cambodia, Canada, UAE, USA. So our Canada, USA, because of time difference, some people will stream and see it late. But the Far East guys are online, and especially on the YouTube. And I would like to thank them and in their own language also welcome them. Salamat Petan to my Philippines, Kamusta, and to my international friends in the West, welcome.
So how's the corona situation treating you? How is it going? Are things different work-wise?
I
Tell
somehow
us a
have
little.
learned, sorry, I somehow have learned to live in crisis. I was in the Philippines in the 71 Yoling, one of the biggest typhoons that I experienced. Two major earthquakes I survived, one in Philippines, one in Greece when I joined Citibank. So
Okay.
in all those crises, we had to develop plans. So somehow I like crisis. I thrive in crisis. So COVID for me is an opportunity. I'm extremely positive about it. And I believe resilient people and positive people will prevail.
True, true. Resilience and learning agility are the things that we need in these tiring times, of course. So, Naki Saab, let's moving on to the questions. Uh, we were discussing about job cuts all across the world. You know, remember we were having that discussion in my office that day. People we know, people on LinkedIn, people from all industries, and not just the ones directly affected in the initial days. मतलब सिर्फ अभी hospitality की बात नहीं हो रही है, like I said. अच्छा, हमारे पास questions or concerns आए from people across all sectors, and they had the same concern कि job cuts hai or pay cuts hai. So what do you think are the challenges that people are facing in money management, what they can possibly be facing, and what is it that they're not able to foresee at this point?
Definitely. I will get to that in a sec. Basically, let's understand the environment. What has been the impact of COVID worldwide? And I'm more interested specifically in Asia. And since I cannot travel out of Karachi, so I've been here for the last 6 months. Otherwise, I shuttle between ASEAN countries and and Pakistan. So there are two themes that are recurring in the environment. Because of COVID, there is a air of uncertainty. When you have uncertainty, I believe in Urdu it's ghair yaqini or something like that. You got to help me a little bit here. Because I'll talk
There's
more in English because of my international audience too and Pakistani audience too. So when you have
there yakini ki
uncertain,
kaifiyat, you could say.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And the other one, because of uncertainty, there is too much movements or of volatility up and down, basically in simple words. Uh, Lockdown, no lockdown, lockdown, no lockdown, smart lockdown, no lockdown. And this is a global phenomena. And this is happening in the Far East and as well as in Pakistan. So what all of this causes is ambiguity. How do we say ambiguity in Urdu? So ambiguity means
Can't think of a word.
मतलब
वही
यकीनी
गैर यकीनी,
sure
गैर
नहीं है.
यकीनी.
Yes. So
Ghair-
ambiguity है. तो ambiguity में opportunity भी है and there are a lot of challenges. That is why we entitled this talk when we had so much, when you were doing the market research. And I must congratulate you. Professional Development Center under you is really innovative and coming up with very nice topics since the COVID process started. So
Thank you.
what I can say is under the ambiguity ambit, there are opportunities, but that needs to be managed. These opportunities in terms of money matters is very essential because money is the lifeblood of the economies of the world. Money matters uh, is a plural noun. If you look at the definition, for those people who are English teachers here who are with us today, a lot of housewives who teach English are on board as well. I've been going through the database last night. So I'm very fascinated with the kind of audience I have today. I would not like to talk of high finance because I've been doing that all my life. I'll simplify it in words with practical examples. So money matters is a plural noun. So it has double meaning. Money matters. It's very important. It's very relevant and timely. And the other thing is money matters, how to save, how to budget, and how to spend wisely. So let me first talk about money. Money is an emotional thing. Money is emotional because latest research on money shows that 8 out of 10 people who were surveyed earlier year cried. They actually cried. And this is in the West, so-called developed economies. That is why it is emotional. When your pocket hurts, you feel the pinch. A lot of parents who are right now, a lot of people whose salaries have been cut, who are in the borderline of being in the name of right size or downsize, there are a lot of challenges. So it is very emotional topic. In the East, in the Asian countries, 7 out of 10 people are crying. Okay, so it is extremely, extremely emotional topic. So I will try to share some tips with you. One of the first things that immediately you should do, whether you're a housewife, you're a student, you're an individual, or small business manager or owner or entrepreneur. I do not want to talk about the big multinationals because they do have reserves, they do have that. So that's an area I'm not going to go to. I have spent a lot of time with these big companies. So I would literally come to the common man with some common sense solutions. The first thing is everybody should revisit and review their budget. And they should do it as often as they can. If you used to do your budget once a year or once in 6 months, do it every month. If possible, every 2 months. Secondly, your income expense balance. Income is normally fixed unless you have got a gift from your grandfather or inheritance money. Otherwise, income is fixed as salaried people. And most of the people that I checked on our registration are mostly fixed income people. There is a fixed salary of $1,000 or $3,000 equivalent, or in rupees or in pesos or in ringgit. All right. So income, we cannot do much, but I will give you some innovative solutions later on. Expense is an area where you really have to work on. That is the hardest part. Because in good times, we never think of expense. You want to buy a brand new cell phone, you just go and trade in, or you just give your old phone to your younger brother or your cousin, and then you buy a $1,000 iPhone or a Samsung, okay? The third area, and this is not very prevalent in the East, but now governments are seriously considering, is government support. In the West, of course, where the economies of the Nordic countries or Canada, they have a pretty good employment insurance. And there is support if you get laid off or you have a salary cut, and it can last up to 1 year. Asia is not yet there, but some economies like Singapore, Hong Kong, they're pretty strong on these. I spoke to my colleague in Indonesia who had actually managed the two crises of the late 80s and the 98, 99 crisis. And he has given me some very nice tips, which I will, as we go along, share. And of course, two very simple tips, which I have practiced since I was a little kid. My mom used to do it, God rest her soul. She passed away 9 years ago. And all this Eid gifts and Christmas gifts and whatever, adjust your spending, keep an envelope. So she would give an envelope and say, save it. Or we had this little elephant and start putting money in it. So from a childhood, we learned, at least I learned, and my brothers and sisters learned how to save. So that culture should come from the parents. But if the parents just keep buying their kids all the gifts because they love them so much, because money is an emotional topic. So that envelope works extremely well. Till today, the salaries of my staff or my household, my house budget I manage is through an envelope. I put that money, I don't touch that money. So this works very well. The other is maintaining a simple diary or a sheet of paper. These two are very good ways, but it's a discipline. You have to work on it. Adjust your spending.
Right. And it's important for the habit of saving to be instilled from a very young age. Indeed. अच्छा
Yes.
नगी साहब, ये अब वॉलेटिलिटी भी चल रही है बहुत, प्राइसिंग में चीज़ों की कीमतें बहुत ऊपर नीचे हो रही हैं, देन पॉलिटिकली भी बड़ी वॉलेटिलिटी चल रही है रोल्स में, एवरीथिंग इज चेंजिंग एट सच अ फास्ट पेस. तो उसकी वजह से ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ एम्बिग्विटी इन द एनवायरनमेंट. सो व्हाट एडवाइस वुड you give to our audience about how they can feel more in control, more in control of their finances and money related matters, and what can they do differently about their spending patterns or monthly budgeting, for instance, other than envelope?
Wonderful question. I have a slide on that, on money matters. There you are. Number 3, focus on essentials. In times of crisis, you must, if you have a rented place, you have to pay rent. If you don't have rent, if you have a mortgage, you have to pay your mortgage. And now in most Asian countries also, there is house financing and so rent. So that you cannot escape. Otherwise, you don't have a roof on your head. Food, definitely. But we can work around food. I will, a lot of housewives there who want some tips on managing food. And I will give you, because I'm stuck here alone. My family is in overseas. So I'm managing my house as well as, doing this webinar. So I will give you some wonderful tips on how to manage your food budget. School fees, those who have kids, school fees, that is a very important part of your expenditure. Groceries, that goes with food. Cell phone expense can be pretty high. It all depends how you use it, unless you get good packages. I'm glad the carriers, the cell phone carriers, are coming up with some budget packages. Anyway, so focus on essentials. So the way to manage it, again, in your budget, the food, rent, and the groceries included in that are very important. You have to keep that aside. After that, what you have to work on that. Of course, the fees. There is a very innovative solution that Indonesia did. And I got this information today because my classmate was one of the, he was in the undergraduate with me, and then he also did his MBA from the Asian Institute of Management. And he gave me the solution. He said in Indonesia, a lot of parents were having a hard time paying school fees. You know what they did? They came up with an innovative, and he was in the government, he was managing, he was one of the decision makers. He said, the first thing we did, the government took hard decisions. What they said, they guaranteed all the banks and financial institutions. We will guarantee all the lending that you have done to the public and to small business. So when they guaranteed that, the banks restructured or did additional financing against their property. If they owned the house, if they didn't own a house, if they owned any other asset. So, and they gave long-term. So 5-year maturities were stretched to 15 years, 3 times from 5 years to 15 years. What that did was free up disposable income. The money was there. There's a disposable money for them. They could afford to pay. 2 years, they survived the crisis, very heavy crisis. It was a financial crisis. It was a meltdown. And then the people, the economy start to rise again, and they started to pay back the loan. They didn't take 15 years to pay. If they had more money, they paid it as fast as possible. There were no penalties. Very innovative way. Indonesia did it very successfully. So there I've given you a specific solution. You see, simplify your lifestyle. It's common sense stuff, but the hardest thing to do. How do you simplify your lifestyle? If I go to restaurants every second day, which I used to because I have so many friends and associates out here, it just stopped in COVID. It just stopped after 1 or 2 weeks. So suddenly I knew I had more money. I used to pay my, restaurant and club expenses was huge. It came down to zero for 2 months. Suddenly I had disposable income on my hand. Now I order online, home delivery. I change my lifestyle. Stay home, stay in lockdown. At most, walk in my garden, do some exercises. The other thing, beware of scams. Right now, there's so many people contacting us through call centers and all that, that there are these insurance packages. You can buy them, and then they will cover you. And there are so many investment. So please be careful. It's always in crisis, these financial scams. Do not fall for it. Invest in yourself. This is my favorite. Investing in yourself simply means upskill yourself. I am 63 years old, and now I'm learning digital technologies. I'm doing one in front of you to the whole crowd. My kids are very savvy on using technology, but now I have to learn too. And by the way, through your Sana, we will be offering for our youth data analytics introduction to introductory program, a 3-month certificate program. And I would love to invite all those young people who are listening. And I saw the list, not only from DSU, but from other universities. People have signed up, and this amazes me. Yeah. And our alumni graduates who have been laid off, a lot of alumni have been laid off, but for them, this is your opportunity. Invest in yourself, and we will come up with affordable programs that will make you employable 3 months down the road. The reason being, when a new employer will talk to you, he will ask you, what did you do in these 5 months since January? If you say, I was locked down in home, nothing will happen. They will not be impressed. You will not be hired. But if you say, I did analytics, I did e-commerce, I did digital, whatever you like, you did this. If you're a doctor, engineer, do some telehealth courses, consulting through digital technologies. If you become savvy in that, I can guarantee you will get a good job.
Or even just soft skills for that matter, even if you're non-technical cheezon ke alawa, if you're working on your soft skills during these times. And
wonderful, yes, you're right.
Programs and certifications. So I think that will also go a long way in helping you with your career, because you have all the time in the world to work on the areas that you need to work on at this time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Soft skills is very important. And yes, we will be launching our soft skills using technology. This is the time to innovate. And I've got a lot of experience in soft skills and how you use technology to communicate, how you use technology to make high-powered presentations. How do you use technology to give feedback? How do you use technology to negotiate? How do you use technology to educate young children? And there's a lot of things, speech giving, writing skills using technology. So this is the future.
अच्छा नकी साहब, आपका जो global leadership roles का experience है, you have a diversified career and decades of experience in banking. Citibank में you've successfully established various departments. You worked from learning and development से लेके banking operations. Plus you've successfully run and sold the Dow Jones Teleridge franchise in Pakistan. So you've been an investor, so you've managed microfinance, payday loans, you've set up various entrepreneurial and academic ventures. So given your experience, अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं कि key learnings क्या थे आपके about money and the matters that come with it. So what were the critical lessons that were learned?
Terrific. I'm amazed you have done your homework extremely well, Sana. I anticipated this and I have prepared 2 slides on this.
Because
So,
I'm sure आपके experience के
yes,
साथ कुछ 3-4 powerful learnings होंगी जो कि
definitely.
audiences would be
Let's
able to
start with
benefit from.
entrepreneurship. Uh, uh, Setting up a small business. There are a lot of questions, and especially the questions from Cambodia that came in. Here I have from Cambodia, Rom, Samdi, on all these. I had done a international finance course, and I'd sent them the link, and they were like excited, and they all signed up. So the first thing in a small business, before you even adventure, you must understand your financial situation, meaning what you have in your kitty, how much you're willing to go off it, how much you're willing to invest, making a good pre-feasibility first, and then doing actual financial feasibility, market research. Once you do all that, if you understand, if you do not understand your personal financial situation, do not start a business. You have to understand. Most people have great ideas, but somewhere along the way, investors come and hijack it, and you're left with nothing much because they do not understand finance. So how do we make you understand finance? Again, Sana, through your professional development center, we will be starting a personal finance, small business courses, certificate, short, affordable pricing. So this is how it is. Then define your priorities. What are your strengths? What business line you get into? And the third is stick to the budget. Make a budget and start with that. But do your homework. Do your market research. Okay. For housewives, for the next one, yes. For households, what are the lessons learned? You just asked that question. I think the most important is at this time of crisis, what do you really need in the house or your child or for yourself? I gave an example of mobile phone. Do you really need a new car right now? Can you postpone that? I have always learned through experience, sometimes or most of the times, slow and steady wins the race. So what that means is if you want to upgrade your car or your telephone or your laptop, right now, delay that if it works fine. Because it is a need, but it is because you already have one, you don't need. If you don't have it, get one because everything is going digital. All right. Now, want is, oh, I want to have some luxury items just because, I have a second phone because it's fashion. I have one iPhone and have another Samsung or some other phone. So, you don't need. So the wants, just right now, stop the wants. The same thing with ladies, those who are now the housewives and the fashion artists and all that. I know a lot of friends and their wives and their daughters. They literally go to the mall, and even if they don't, they buy one, one joda, one set of what do you call in English, joda, clothes. Okay, so now most of them have stopped buying. They say we'll buy one a month. So that is it, because you already have so many. When I was working in my corporate, I had more than 100 suits. Today I have only 5. 3 children, all for their wedding, 1 for my office, and 1 as a backup. So from 100 suits, I gave it away. I only have 5 suits because I don't need it. I want it, but I don't need it. So these choices you have to make. Consume wisely, again linked to the first. Smartly, shop smartly. I just gave you example. Work smart to make extra money. This is where, because a lot of questions came on job security now, how to make money, and I will name Sufyan, Saqib, Rida, Rafi, Usman, all were asking. We either, our salaries have been halved and all that. How do we work smart? Well, again, upgrade yourself. This is the time to invest in yourself. Don't cut in training. Don't cut in upskilling yourself. If you do that, you can sit from home and earn. For example, you make good YouTube videos, 12 minutes. If it's a big a threshold crosses of 400-500, they will pay you a very good amount from the Google platform, just doing something you're good at. Okay. Another example, cottage industries. A lot of ladies from home can do sewing, stitching, and especially in Asian countries. This is Malaysia. I was visiting Terengganu. The school mothers of school children started to plant eggplants and okra and all this vegetables to supplement their household vegetable bill. So here is a solution for housewives. Because of that, I started, because I had time on my hand, I started a small garden. Now I've got green chilies and I've got some eggplants and I've got some nice flowers. So I don't have to buy these vegetables. I can save 200-300 rupees. It adds up. This is every 3 days. It adds up to 1,000 rupees a month or so. So here is a very important tip.
Right. अच्छा नकी साहब, ये अभी हमने यूथ के लिए अपस्किलिंग की बात करी, तो ऑफ कोर्स ये हमारा एक एक्सेप्शनल डेमोग्राफिक एसेट है यूथ दैट हैज टू बी हार्नेस्ड, एंड स्टैटिस्टिक्स हमें बताते हैं कि इट्स आल्सो द लार्जेस्ट सेगमेंट ऑफ आवर पॉपुलेशन, और 64% जो हैं वो हमारे यंग लोग हैं, लेस देन 30 वाले, और उसमें से 29% आर बिटवीन द एज ऑफ 15 and 29. This is the exact age, जिसमें upskilling की बहुत ज़रूरत होती है इस time frame में. And Pakistan now has more young people than it ever had. We are one of the youngest countries in the world. So this youth bulge, of course, has to translate into economic gains. ये तभी होगा if the youth has ideas and skills and that are consistent with the requirements of the economy. So in these times of ambiguity and limitation, other than upskilling, please share what the youth and young professional can do to leverage their skills to augment their income. अभी आपने बड़ी interesting बात करी कि YouTube और ये online platforms को use करने का. So because we got a lot of queries and comments about this, कि वो क्या कर सकते हैं और additional.
Yes, very good question. I think the 3 areas, after doing some research, and I have some very good friends who work for some top consulting firms. They do a lot of research, and a lot of people, my ex-staff, my ex-associates are now in very good positions of responsibility on some of the top companies like BCG, Boston Consulting Group, EY, Baringa. These are all specialized boutique. So I talked to them before I came to this. I did my homework. So what I found out, 3 areas. This is for the youth. So, and this is not only for Pakistani youth. Malaysia has a young population too. Philippines has a very, very big young population too. Cambodia has a super young population because, as you know, the history of Cambodia during the Pol Pot regime, a lot of senior people and academics and artists were, suffered a lot of casualties and they were killed. So the youth, 3 areas I would really like you to focus on. First, this is going to grow by leaps and bounds. Number 1, e-commerce. Now, don't ask me the details because I'm not a tech guru. I have friends here sitting, listening, who can tell you more about it. Maybe our next webinar can be on the specifics of this program. But those who know e-commerce, even multinational banks, local banks, insurance companies, F&B, Unilever, blah, blah, blah. They're all coming up with e-commerce. Just to give you a specific example, one of my senior 79 batch, very close friend, his daughter last week got a letter. She worked after her BBA, Bachelor of Business. You're a very specific example for the youth. Please listen to this. She got a BBA. She worked 3 years with Procter & Gamble. And in 3 years' time, she's only 26 years old. She got an offer from South Africa and from Indonesia. I called my friend before coming here in Indonesia that this is my friend's daughter, it's like a niece. And she quadrupled her salary in times of COVID.
Acha.
Quadrupled in US dollars, because Indonesia is a growing market. Because, as you know, because of the tensions between China and United States, a lot of companies are moving out of China and India into
Far
Indonesia.
East.
So yes, Indonesia especially, and Philippines and Malaysia, but Indonesia is number one. So she was just posted there. She starts in September in these times of COVID. So a great opportunity. I tell my kids, look, you know, you can do it too. And I'm sure those listening, you can do it too. But what you need to do, invest in yourself. Learn e-commerce, learn digital marketing, learn social media marketing. These are the growth areas. And those who like finance, learn digital finance, learn analytics. You don't
Fintech.
have to be a programmer, but just learn how to use those R and Tableau and Python. You know, I'm not a tech savvy guy, but I've become literate in the last 3 months. I can talk so confidently about it. So these are the areas the youth should be concentrating on. And I must say, SOFA University has taken an initiative and from through USANA, and we will be launching this course in the next 2-3 months.
Yeah. And of course, it's important for the youth to keep upskilling, you know, be aware of what's happening in the market currently and what is anticipated. What are the technologies, how industries would evolve. It's very important now more than ever to be on a lookout for opportunities and see how things are evolving. Industries kaise, disruption kaise aa rahi hai industries mein, and to, you know these data science mein kya ho raha hai or medicine mein kya ho raha hai. So youth really has to be more on top of the game now more than ever.
Okay.
So
For that, I would like to share a very, very short experience and story, which is applicable to youth, to the housewives who are listening, to corporate people, to retired professor. I have a very wonderful comment and question from Malaysia, from IIUM, Professor Siti. She says, I'm retiring. I don't have retirement fund. So here is the tip for you guys, all those professors who are listening right now. Do your homework. What do I mean? I am 63. What I learned over 40 years, I am unlearning. I repeat, what you have learned, you need to unlearn. There was a study by Cambridge and Harvard, one of the top two from Europe and America. And I have some friends who have gone into academia at ex-Harvard graduates, so I communicate regularly with them. We worked in Citibank and Treasury together. So I'm in touch. They've all gone into academia with practitioner. So what they have said, Naki, we need to unlearn what we have learned. The database of learning of 1,000 years, not 100 years, we are unlearning. So for those chancellors and vice chancellors and deans who are listening to me, we need to unlearn what we have learned and then relearn the future. So this crisis is a great opportunity to relearn. As I told you, the future is virtual, digital, technology, even media, even all that. Does that mean jobs will go away? Not necessarily. You just need to retool. You have to retool yourself, learn new skills, whichever you're good at. Artists needs to also learn these things. A social scientist need to relearn based on the new. I won't call the new normal, but it will become the normal eventually. So please learn, unlearn, relearn. I'm doing the same thing.
True.
Yes.
Acha,
Shall we go to some questions? I
Yeah.
think I have answered all your 5 questions. So
Yeah.
let's go and pick up the questions and things from, I can see on the Zoom we have enough, but I believe I'm getting a lot of messages from the YouTube streaming from the world, and there are a lot of things coming in. So could you please tell me?
Yeah. So एक हमारे पास आया एक question, like all you also shared के your mother instilled this habit of saving for a rainy day in you. So of course rainy day के लिए जब आप save करते हैं, you have that mental peace के खुदा ना खास्ता or some emergencies are covered. So some people set aside a few months income, but current scenario में that has been disturbed, and many people are dipping into their savings to stay afloat. ये हमारे पास comments में पहले आया था question, and there's no clear
Yes.
timeline on how long it would take for the economic revival. तो उस हवाले से what advice would you have? What tips would you have?
Yes.
कि saving habits भी intact रहें, और paycheck अगर shrink हो गया है या finances limit हो गए हैं, तो उसके बावजूद saving habits हमारी intact.
Okay. Yes, very, very pertinent question. I will answer it on 2 fronts. The first front has to be the government front. Okay. I gave you the Indonesia experience. The government must make hard decisions, because this COVID, it's not Corona. Corona was there in H1N1, in SARS, in MARS, and all that. Corona is not the problem. It's COVID-19. And now we know for a fact there are many strains. So don't think this is just going to disappear. My estimate, I study a lot of research reports. I'm an avid reader. And I think minimum 2 years will go by. Minimum. So you have to plan for that. How do you do it? 2 ways. First of all, don't eat up all your savings. From that savings, I'll give you a tip on what I learned about saving. When I used to earn, an example, if I used to earn $100, I never said I earned $100. In good times, I always put away $30. And this is something, again, family training. My dad was very, very strong on savings. Okay, so he said $30. So 70 is what I earned. So I worked my budget backwards. From 70, I worked. So all the expenses, then if I had something left over for luxury, fine. If I didn't, no. That habit, so that 30, when it accumulated, I invested them in land, in blue chip stocks, good companies, but that one too, not speculative. At this time, you should not invest in speculation. You should invest in good blue chip stocks. You can talk to the experts. I'm not the expert. There are a lot of people who are experts in this area, people you trust, you're comfortable with, and they will tell you, because we need to invest. Okay, and this actually, the small savers is the main bulk of the market in this thing. The big players are punters. What I call punter means speculators. They come in, they bring you down, they take big profit and get out. Who is left hanging is the small investor. So these days I'm working on that. So therefore, so that is one thing. The second thing is the daily wagers. In developing countries like ours, Asian countries mostly, you have daily wagers. That is the hardest hit. The only way you can save them is the haves and have-nots. Otherwise, you will have social unrest. The choice is between social unrest versus hard decisions. So the government needs to prepare a safety net. By that, I don't mean give them cash. You can give them some supplement to the poorest of the poor, but you need to create some anchors to support businesses, entrepreneurship, guarantee banks with new schemes to let the new people, young people come up with these digital businesses and technologies.
True. अच्छा, ये कुछ हमारे पास प्राइवेटली भी मेरे पास क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं. अच्छा, ये हाउसवाइफ्स का जो ग्रुप है ना, उसके बारे में आपने बात करी है. So a lot of people are encouraged by that because of course it's an integral group. It runs the economy of the house. They plan, they manage, they budget, they save for a rainy day. That's the housewife. The lady of the house, खातून खाना जो होती हैं, वो फंड मैनेजर का भी रोल प्ले कर रही होती हैं, ट्रबल शूटर का भी रोल प्ले कर रही होती हैं, प्लानर का भी कर रही होती हैं. और ये स्ट्रेटा ऑफ कोर्स है अफेक्टेड बिकॉज जाहिर है they have to worry about what's happening in the kitchen, और डोमेस्टिक स्टाफ से भी कम्युनिकेट करना, लोगों से लेना देना, everything that they manage, they're having to do it differently now. So of course, they are also finding it difficult to manage their budgets given the current economic turbulence. तो आपने बड़ा अच्छा advice किया है, और housewives को लेके जो आपने particularly बात करी है, so I'm sure that'll be very well received. कोई last comment for housewives that you'd like to give?
Yes, I
for this
certainly have
particular
a
strata?
story. I certainly have a story to tell the housewife. The reason I brought housewife, when I saw the database last night, I said, wow, it's a lot of interest. So maybe we should develop a course for them for budgeting for housewives, you know, in simple language without very heavy computer stuff. Okay. In 1998, I made my first visit to Canada because I wanted to send my kids to study there. I had damn good education. Education is a priority, and my 3 kids are all doing well. So I said, fine. When I visited there, I had $5,000 only on my pocket then. So I saw a beautiful project. I immediately invested. So for the ribbon cutting, the mayor of that, it's a city in Ontario called Mississauga. So the lady was a mayor. Her name, please Google her. The housewives can Google her. And in fact, business people and bankers should also Google her. Her name is Hazel, H-A-Z-E-L McCallion. Can you believe it? I voted for her so many times. 12 times she won elections. 34 years she was our mayor. And I met her, I just talked to her. What is the secret of your getting reelected? And you're just wonderful, madam. She's about 94, 95 years old. You know what she said? And that I've instilled in my children too. She said, simple. I run the budget of my city or my county or municipality like I run my kitchen. Whatever I earn, I don't spend more than that. It's common sense. Our Asian values, whether it's from South Asia or China or Japan, teaches you to be thrift, to save. If that culture comes back, Asia will be the first one to get out of this crisis, economic crisis. I can tell you that, but we need to work together. So this is what I learned from Hazel McCallion. Just run your business, your house, your economy, as if you run your kitchen. Nothing more. You don't need Finance 101. You don't need a PhD in finance to do this. Common sense.
Yeah. Don't let your expenditures overrun your income. You know, if you do that in normal circumstances also, so that's a recipe for trouble.
I will tell you why, Sana. I have worked in the East and the West. There is only one difference between these two. The Eastern financial system is value-based. What do I mean by that? It's based on equity. Equity. It is not based on debt. Debt is a Western concept. Even if you go back in Confucius Chinese history, if you go back in the subcontinent history, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all this, the concept of debt did not exist. I have researched it. So this is the way, this is the way. So let us build an equity system, take care of the poorest of the poor, those who have during Ramadan and all that. I was taking care of 5 families because they were daily wage earners, and believe me, and now they have come out of it, and whatever little work I could give them, I gave them. And like me, there were thousands of my friends who did it. We have to do that. This is our Asian values. So I think we have about 5-10 minutes. And before I do my closing, you would like to ask a few more questions?
Yeah,
I have some questions here. Should I share them with you?
I have some questions in
Sure.
a separate window. ये वाली जो chat पे questions आ रहे हैं, पहले इन्हें review कर लेते हैं. अच्छा, एक question आया है by Mr. Daniel Saracen. He's asking that how do we avoid profitless reopening of operations when we are limiting services to only 50% of the capacity because of compliance of health protocols? So,
yes, a wonderful question. Daniel is from Cebu. Hello, Daniel, if you're listening. I'm very pleased that you have, after so many years, you have found us out and tuning in. It's an honor on behalf of DSU, I would like to thank you, and on behalf of Sana. Yes, frankly, you are also an MBA. And now you're in academia. So my solution would be look at your education business, your university. I know you are the dean of one of the universities. I will not name it. At this stage, wherever your enrollments are low, you may need to either amalgamate or turn that into a diploma programs instead of degree. The future is going to be, Coursera is offering a lot of free programs. And this will, the enrollment of Coursera has gone up by 15, 16 million. And I have a friend, his daughter is the business development manager of that. And she gives me a lot of information on that. So you will have to look at the courses that are in demand, be innovative. This is time for innovation. Okay. And where you are as a loss leader, meaning you're losing money on those courses, I'm sorry to say, but you may need to relook at it and maybe close down those, because if you graduate them and they don't get jobs, it will be an example in Turkey. Turkey was one of the countries which I managed in the 89 crisis. We had MBAs and PhDs by hundreds driving taxis because of the economic crisis. Otherwise, you will run in the same boat. And this is from experience. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. You picked out a good question from Daniel.
There's another question by Ahmed Hussain. It's about topics say relevant hai bhi indirectly. So he's asking that for engineering universities, of course, it's desirable to connect with industries. So how can universities and the industry work together in Pakistan in the current scenario? So, they can share their economic burden together.
Wonderful, wonderful. I have some data to share with you. Very close friend of mine runs one of the top software houses in Pakistan. He's also himself is a software engineer. I call him the Bill Gates of Pakistan. He's a very close friend. We share a lot of things. I also happen to be his honorary advisor and his financial planner. So I do this thing now just because, whatever experience and knowledge here, I'm just giving back to society. I don't do it for money. So the point that I found out is he employs a lot of software engineers. What he sees a big gap between the graduates that are coming out, and I'm talking about at least Pakistan case. I do know in Malaysia similar stories exist, but in Pakistan case, they're coming out, but they cannot get employed because they go their first week on the job, they really don't know what to do. So I said, then we must solve this. So because as an advisor to DSU, I have the privilege of working with the head of the computer science department. So I got this friend of mine who runs a software house, and his major clientele are all the telcos companies here. And I linked them, and they formed a task force with computer specialists, software engineers, IT specialists, electrical engineers, and mechanical. And they got together and they're working on industry-specific projects so that when these kids grow, they can either have apprenticeship, not internship, and then they can get employed if they're good the 6 months. So what you call practical as well as theory in engineering or software development. So that is how you work together. You have to work together. If the future, this is another big trend that's coming.
Okay, Acha, we have another question by Mr. Ali Raza. So, Acha, entrepreneurship ke hawale se hai ye question, that I'm facing trouble while establishing my own business because prices are going up and down of different things. So, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs in the current economic environment?
If I put my banking hat on, I would say go and talk with a good banker who will give you hedging advice. But in these times, nobody wants to do hedging and things like that. I don't know the nature of his business, so I cannot give sweeping answer. However, I will again say, revisit your business plan, check out where the losses are happening, why is it happening. You see, to make a successful, I have done it. I invested an X amount, I multiplied it by 2, and now I'm sitting still as an entrepreneur. I've done it and sold it and made my money and enjoying and doing things I like now, because life is at the last innings of my phase. So what he should do is revisit his business plan, check out his budget, look at his financial, talk to the market. Does the market still need is that product or service he's giving relevant to the market? If it is not, change the business model.
Right. अच्छा, एक और हमारे पास क्वेश्चन आया है, ये भी एक एंटरप्रेन्योर की तरफ से आया है कि since revenues are drying up, should the businesses cut costs to a bare minimum or keep hoping for the upturn? What is the approximate timeline of this looking?
When I was posted in Saudi Arabia with Citibank, we used to open 300 LCs a day. We were oozing with money. We didn't know, expanding left and right. We were pioneers in the world in electronic banking because we had Saudi money, lots of money. Suddenly, after 4 or 5 years, the crisis came and boom, we went down. I'm talking about 89 crisis. So what happened? The first thing we did, cut cost. Even newspaper, senior VPs and SVPs were not allowed to buy newspaper on bank account. Coffees were limited to 1, 2. I mean, that is the extent of cost cutting we did. But just by cost cutting, it's not going to happen. It's good. What if the revenues don't come? That is the biggest channel. Keep the eyes on the revenues while cutting the cost. How do you keep the eyes on revenue? Talk to your customer. Get close to the customer. Find out what the customer wants. If he doesn't want, change your product, change your service. I'm sure this guy's in service business probably. So services, new digital services business is the way of the future. So now I think we have 2 minutes. I would like to say a few words before we close.
Yes, I think kuch or.
Is there anything just otherwise then, because there are a lot of people, especially a lot of international audience, it's like 8, 9 o'clock, the dinner time. And I have a feeling a lot of messages are coming in. Can you do a second part with specific thing on it? Maybe in a 2 months time, 1 month, we will do again.
Yeah, let's do another round because questions or comments.
There's too many questions.
Any last advice that you'd like to give?
No, I will not give an advice, but I will share some research information. And here it is, and I will read it to you. To especially people, because most questions came on savings. People are dipping onto their savings or unable to save. So Warren Buffett is a multi-billionaire. Okay, he's from the United States. And one of the best advices I've ever seen in my life. He says, spend what is left after saving the budgeted amount, rather than save what is left after spending. So what does that mean? You have revenue, you have spending. So after that, so let's say you have 10 income and 7 spending, you have 3 left. From 3, how much can you save? 3, then you need some, you don't have any contingency fund. What he says is, don't save after spending line, save before spending. So saving can be added to the spending line upfront. Very wonderful.
Top priority honi chahiye.
Correct. That you can only do if you prioritize, which I showed you on my slides. So wonderful tip. Wonderful tip.
Not like आपने सारा आपने dining out कर ली, shopping कर ली, बाकी सारे काम कर लिए, and then you come to the saving part.
So I think you're gonna do a PhD in finance now. You're so motivated, you're smiling, and you're like following it so closely.
Yeah, I'm smiling because my husband has also joined, and he must be thinking,
she's nice.
Talking about saving so actively.
Yes, so there I've given you the solution to saving. So save before the expenditure. You have to. What did I tell you? What my father taught me? 100,000 rupees, take out 10. Now today you cannot do 13. There's no way. Everything is expensive. So maybe take out 10, take out 15. So you have 85. You can still work around 85. That is the trick of saving.
And as long as it's on the top of your priority, you take that chunk out before you move on to anything else.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I would like to close with a final thought, actually a reflection. and I find this very, very motivational and positive, in a positive note. The darkest part of the night is before the break of dawn. So if you're a late, Karachiites would know, if you're a late sleeper, the real dark, if you go out of your window, the darkest part is just before dawn. So like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So we are in that dark part, which is our COVID-19. This will last for a year or two at least, but the dawn will come. So my tip, learn, relearn, unlearn, and relearn. This is all you have to remember, and forget about the rest. If you do that, upskill yourself, believe me, you will be in a position when the takeoff happens again. It will happen. Thank you. And thank you to
Naki Saab.
all my foreign participants and Pakistani participants. I'm very honored. And thank you for that generous introduction, Sana.
Thank you, Naki Saab. And indeed, one can only plan wisely to tread these waters. और बाकी अल्लाह मालिक है, आप जो किस्मत में है वो आपके होना है. आप एक हद तक उसकी रेमेडी कर सकते हैं. But it's important to plan wisely. It's important to save. It's important to prioritize. And of course, what you shared is, it's not a one-size-fits-all puzzle, but of course, everyone with a financial issue at hand is able to better navigate their way through this, because these were very important and very sound learnings from decades of experience that Naki Saab shared. So a huge thank you again to you, Naki Saab, for joining us and taking out the time. And he also shared, let me just reiterate, that we'll also be launching some short certification programs on soft skills and analytics and other areas for the youth and young professionals. So stay tuned to our official online spaces for more details. और आगे के sessions के लिए, if there's a topic that you want covered, do write to us, and that is pertaining to the current scenario. हमने health पे बात की है, हमने positivity, staying motivated पे बात की, finances पे हमने बात करी, अपस्किलिंग पे भी हमने बात करी कि करियर्स कैसे इम्पैक्ट होंगे. कोई और टॉपिक अगर आप चाहते हैं कि हम किसी स्पीकर को एंगेज करें, प्लीज डू राइट टू अस, and take very good care of yourself and your family, and avoid going out unnecessarily, as the lockdown has been eased for economic reasons, and the threat is very much there, more now than a couple of months ago when we were being more careful. And last but not the least, हम बिल्कुल नहीं भूलना चाहिए, we should pray for the families who lost their lives to the recent PIA crash, including our student Ammar Rashid, हमारा engineering का student था, who was also on the ill-fated flight. So such is life. Our prayers for the people who have lost their lives to the pandemic and are fighting the battle against it. May Allah protect us and guide us all. Take very good care of yourself. Until next time, next week, with a different topic and guest. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.